and welcome back. Today's scripture is John chapter 11, verse 40 through 44. Now, I had been asking a question because that's what I do. That's how I work the law. I ask questions. And in my asking, I said, well, I don't understand. Because I know I believe. I said, but, because there was a scripture in the Bible that says, Lord, I believe, but help my unbelief. And so I knew there was some doubt. And I said, well, what do I do to fix this doubt? What can I do to fix it? And so as I was narrating for this person, this verse popped up in her book. And here's what John chapter 11, verse 40 through 44 says. Jesus responded. Wait, let me preface this. This is about the raising of Lazarus. Lazarus has been dead for a couple days. And so Martha, if we go up to 39, roll the stone aside, Jesus told them. But Martha, the dead man's sister, protested, Lord, he has been dead for 4 days. The smell would be terrible. Jesus responded, didn't I tell you that you would see God's glory if you believe? So they rolled the stone aside. Then Jesus looked up to heaven and said, Father, thank you for hearing me. You always hear me. But I said it out loud for the sake of all these people standing here, so that they will believe you sent me. Then Jesus shouted, Lazarus, come out. And the dead man came out, his hands and feet bound in grave cloths, his face wrapped in a headcloth. Jesus told them, unwrap him and let him go. Now, that was the answer to my question. How do I get rid of my doubt? How do I get more faith then? And I was reminded, you always see the glory of God if you believe. And I was like, but what does believe mean? You see, now we hear words like Jesus. We hear words like have faith. We hear words like believe. And as Neville always says, they've grown barnacles. Because they have a certain connotation to them. You know, we don't take them seriously anymore. But to believe means to accept something as true. So how do you want more faith? Accept. Now, who are you asking when you pray? When Martha, because Martha is you and me, and our desire, the thing that we want, is dead. And you know, for emphasis, it just smells. Because, you know, you've been haranguing over it and just frustrated about it, about how to bring it into fruition. And Jesus said, but didn't I tell you, you would see the glory of God if you believe? The scripture says, when you pray, you must believe that you have received it. Because if you believe that you received it, then you'll have it. But when you tell somebody, oh, you just have to have faith, you got to believe. No. Here's a way of saying it. Accept what you've asked for. Well, who did you ask for? Who did you pray to? Yeah, that reflection looking back at you in the mirror. That's who you prayed to. So if you're going to ask yourself for something, are you not going to accept it? Why would you doubt it? Why would you doubt it? There's also another scripture that says, us people, if our children ask for bread, are you going to give them a stone? If they ask for fish, would you give them a snake? That's the point right there. It's not that your children are asking, it's that you are asking. You're asking yourself for something. So if you're asking yourself for something, are you not going to give it? Will you withhold it from yourself? So if you're going to take it and receive it, that means you're going to accept it. So when you pray, accept what you've prayed for. Accept it. You know how you accept something? You put your hand out and you say, oh, thank you. And we always talk about gratitude. One must have gratitude. Neville says we don't give gratitude for something we haven't received. That's why when you pray, you must accept it. You receive what you've asked for. Because when you receive it, then you can wholeheartedly say, thank you. This is exactly what I wanted. So that scripture inspired me to accept what I asked for. Instead of, oh, I'm so scared. What if I don't get it? This means the world to me. In all honesty, that's exactly what I was like. I was like a fish out of water, vacillating from one side to the next. And I asked the question, well, what do I do to get more faith then? And that's when seriously, I asked that question as I was narrating. And that was the next line. Didn't I tell you that you would see the glory of God if you believe? Well, I asked the question, didn't I? So what am I going to do? I'm going to put my hand out and say, thank you. I accept what it is that I asked for in prayer. And again, when you accept something, the desire goes away for this thing that you've asked for. And it does not mean that you beat your 3D and look for it and wait for it and hope it shows up. You already know that it is there. Allow yourself to be guided now across the bridge of incidents. And pay attention. Neville always said he kept a journal and he would write the date down and the scripture so that when his harvest showed up, he would know how long it took. Because you plant the seed and you reap it. You need the date. So make that a habit. Practice it. Write down that day you pray for something, the date, the time, and let it be. And then when you reap your harvest, look back and see how long it took you. I'll leave you with that.